CBSSports.com. Top impending free agents that will be playing in the Super Bowl. They ranked them. So the seventh ranked one is the guy we just heard from, Brandon Graham, edge rusher for the Eagles. We'll go through some of the defensive guys, primarily for the Eagles that are out there. Number 21, Robert Quinn, edge rusher for the Eagles. Second ranked one, a defensive tackle, Javon Hargrave. He might be a little bit out of the price range. 10th is Fletcher Cox. And again, he may get paid, a little bit older. Number 17, this guy is intriguing. Ndamukong Suh. He played for the Lions when Jim Schwartz was the head coach there, so that's another one. And then 19, Linval Joseph. So you connect the dots. You mentioned you always look for guys that are familiar with the coordinator or the guy that's going to be running that side of the ball. Jim Schwartz is running the defense. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of those linemen end up here in Cleveland playing for him, because you heard what Brandon Graham said about him. That's not something that's going to be what you hear from most guys that play for him. He's well respected.
Yeah, especially the older guys that have played for him before. I think those are the guys you can get a little bit cheaper because they are older and they're not as useful for every team around the league. But for the Browns, who have a win-now window, those players are very useful for them, right? So Brandon Graham comes to mind. Fletcher Cox comes to mind. Javon Hargraves is going to be probably very expensive. I don't know how old he is, but he's very good. And he's probably going to get retained by the Eagles. Ndamukong Suh is an interesting one, because I just think at this point in Ndamukong's career, if you aren't a proven like contender, he probably ain't playing for you, and that means he's probably going to wait like 10 weeks into the season again to play for somebody. So maybe if the Browns are winning that well and looking that good, he might join us, but I don't think he's coming anywhere for the love of it, like for funds. You know what I mean? Like, yep. He's going there to win. He has a goal. He wants to win a championship. And who knows? He might win a championship this season and decide he calls it quits. So, you never know with that too. Surprise, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, there's always a couple of surprise retirements that pop up because guys want to go out on top. But yeah, I think there's going to be a healthy amount of veteran players that have played with him before and had a good experience with him that are going to want to come back.
Let me ask you this. How many new linemen do you think they bring in? I can't imagine that too many. You got Miles and you probably got Winfrey, Wright, maybe Isaiah Thomas, maybe one or two. You're probably going to have 4 or 5 new defensive linemen.
I would say they're probably going to retain Winfrey. They're probably going to retain Jordan Elliott. They're probably going to retain Taven Bryan. And then an edge, Alex Wright. And then maybe Isaiah Thomas, but he's probably going to be a camp guy. So, you got 4 guys that you're probably going to bring in at least 2 or 3. 4 or 5 would be a lot. But I think at least 3 are probably going to be brought in. Plus, there will be like some guys sprinkled at the bottom of that aren't necessarily locks to make the roster, but are going to be brought in to compete that might have some familiarity with Jim Schwartz.